All right, guys, I am back. Thank you to everyone who reached out in support of everything I've been going through. I just needed a break. As you guys know, my grandfather fell ill and passed away, I don't know, maybe 10 days ago. After that all happened, I was on vacation for a week, so I got a chance to step away, do a couple walk and talks on the beach. Hopefully you guys caught those. Then I returned from vacation, had the funeral. Then we had the burial in a different state, in his home state. So we had to drive the body to the other state. So I had to go to another state and do that. And then, as you can imagine, I'm so far behind on work in my real life roles that it's just been taking me a little bit to get back on board. So that's why I'm filming this one at night, and then I'm actually going to have it post tomorrow morning so everyone can check it out. But this is the first available time I had, and I guess that's how it goes, guys. But glad to be back on YouTube. I've actually, in a weird way, missed doing these videos, so here I am, and I've got some good stuff to share. The drip community has been crazy. So first off, if you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I think we're at about 2,200 followers. I'd like to get that up to 2,500 subscribers, I guess, in the next maybe month and a half, something like that. So I think once Animal Farm really launches and we get Scratchy and everything going, a bunch more people, the algorithms are going to push out drip content, and a bunch more people will subscribe from that. But I'm happy and very happy with all of you who have been subscribing, because we're inching along and adding subscribers in a very small space, especially in a crypto market that's doing very terribly. So I appreciate the support, and we're still growing. So I'm really happy with that. But like the videos, comment, whatever. Like I said, I'm back, so I'm going to be in the Telegram, which you can join. There'll be a link down below, answering questions. I'm just getting back into the flow of everything. So we'll do some airdrops. I did some kind of at the end of the week when I got back from vacation. I launched some out real quick. I did some just a little bit before I left in the Telegram chat. I ran a little deal. First person to comment got hooked up, so did one then. But some people have joined the team, and I will say that something happened a few days ago. I rechecked. I wasn't able to see any of my team members beyond 100. So all the new people that were eligible who had joined, I couldn't see them at all. And we were kind of going back and forth in the chats in my private groups, trying to figure out why that was. And it could have been, we were thinking maybe it was just because a bunch of people joined with, they just bought one drip. And since after the tax that would register as less than one drip, they weren't showing up in that list, because you don't show up unless you have one full drip. But it looks like there was just an error in the system. We posted it. Shout out to DevStreak for staying on top of that for us, and everything got fixed, and now I can see everybody, and I've been dishing out some airdrops to all those new team members. So I've claimed 12 and a half here, so I'm going to give those away here in a minute. And let's talk about a couple things, a couple key highlights from the AMA that happened while I was gone. And I'm not going to recap the whole thing because I'm so late to the game that every other YouTuber's already done it. I'm just going to call it the key points that I think are important and are exciting for me, and I'll let you guys decide whether they're good or bad or what's going on with that. But before I get to that, we need to address something that is very serious. The mighty drip has fallen. The info I'm about to tell you will shock you. Two things. Right now, Forex is draining the system. He's stolen the collateral rehypothecation funds that are supposed to be sitting in PancakeSwap. And Forex has secret wallets with pigs in them. If you've been seeing any of the recent FUD, you know that that's apparently what's going on. That's what people are accusing Forex of. Except for if you were to check the blockchain, you'll notice that the funds are still sitting in PancakeSwap earning a yield. So Forex hasn't stolen the funds. Just because the Animal Farm is closed, people want to get crazy and talk about how Forex must be a scammer. He's taking all the funds. The whales are trying to pump this up so they can drain the system. Guys, I don't know how many times I'm about to tell you this. That makes no sense. If a dev is shady, he will drain the accounts and take all of it at once. Why would he nickel and dime himself and try to create backdoor systems for him to take some of the money? It makes absolutely no sense, because if you want to pull the rug on something, you just pull it at the all-time high. When everything's rallying, you bounce with your $500 million, and you don't sit and wait and hire devs and do all this additional work. So most of these claims are absolute nonsense. I haven't seen any factual information here, except for Forex does actually have secret wallets. But they've never really been secret. A couple of those wallets that these haters have pointed out are actually Forex's, and they do hold pigs. But Forex has always said he was going to hold pigs to be able to get the BUSD out of the farms. He's always going to hold pigs in the pig pen. So the deal with Forex doesn't really make anything from drip, right? And the reason is, if we were to have a bunch of drip and been paid out in the native token and were to dump it to try to get some payment, it would cause negative price action with drip. He doesn't want to do that to hurt his own project. In addition to that, if people watch his wallets and notice that he's draining the system because he's trying to sell some of that asset to get some of that money back, it'll look bad, and they're going to wonder why the project developer is draining the system. So it's basically impossible for him to get paid through drip outside of like the partnerships and other things like that he's lining up. I think in the future, when the new drip network UI has like ad spend and stuff like that, he could take some additional funds from that. But Forex doesn't really have a dev fee. He's also said many times that he will never sell the native asset because it's bad for the system. It's bad for sentiment. Like I've said, if he dumps those on the people, right, dumps them on the community, people can see his wallet and watch him do that. Everyone's going to think it's bad news, and they're going to bail out. So it makes no sense for him to do that, and it's not very good for the project and terrible for the project's long-term viability. So instead of getting paid in dogs or pigs or anything like that he's going to have to dump, there's something called the pig pen. And if you guys are aware of how the pig pen works, you buy pigs, you stake them in the system, that's your ownership of that protocol, and as all those fees are generating for people using the animal farm, those pay out in BUSD. So if Forex owns pigs, and I don't care whether he minted them for himself for free or he purchased them or whatever, he's the dev and he created it, and as long as he doesn't own 50% of the pigs or whatever and is like the majority share, then it's absolutely fine. He's able to take those assets, stick it in the pig pen, and get paid out with BUSD. Now, that's not only a bad thing, I think it's actually a good thing, because what we know is every single pig that Forex owns will never be sold, which ties up the supply forever, which helps the price. The less supply that will ever make it to the market, the better. That will only aid what is called supply shock. Limited supply, price shoots up. So it's a good thing that Forex has that. So to me, this is just his extremely clever way to take a dev fee, never have to sell the underlying assets, get paid out in BUSD, and be supporting his own project at the same time. So it's genius in my opinion, and I don't really see anything wrong with it. There's a bunch of other nonsense that's been thrown out in there. I'm not even gonna give 99% of it the time of day because it's garbage. So if you want to waste a bunch of time and get down on all the conspiracy theories, there's groups out there. I won't allow stuff like that in my chat. I don't mind like some spirited back and forth, and I don't mind constructive criticism. There's a few things that have changed that I'll mention here in a minute that some people are frustrated about. I'm okay with that. But straight up, unconfirmed FUD and nonsense, I just don't want to be around it. I've got too much stuff going on in my life that I don't need to entertain these conspiracy theories that everyone's bringing up with too much time on their hands. This downtime with the farm is really creating a lot of FUD. And this FUD was around last year when prices were really low, right in around that September range. So when everything was low before it shot up, the FUDsters were going wild. So it's not a surprise to me. It's not a surprise to me that they're back. But be very careful who you take your information from. There's a lot of stuff out there is just complete BS. So here's a couple things from the AMA. People are bugged right now that if they had money in that dogs BUSD farm, that part of it, those will be credited back as dogs only and not get the BUSD. So that's really frustrating for people because people aren't able to offload the dogs. Right? If you could just take your BUSD back, then you're able to spend it wherever you want. So you've got plenty of flexibility. If you're now only being given that in dogs, you can't really sell the dogs without getting a high tax. There is a way to get some of that back through like an auto compounder, but in general, that's real. There is a downside there. I personally wasn't involved in that farm, so it doesn't really affect me. So I guess it just stings less to me. I'm not really that concerned about it. But what I will say about this is Forex's main concern is that the ship keeps floating, right? So if he sees something that he maybe didn't do just right correctly the first time, or something that needs to be adjusted for the longevity to be around, he's got to do it. I liken this to when a CEO of a company has to lay a few people off to protect the rest of the people. Yes, it's very frustrating for those people, but if he lets them stay employed and starts to let everything go negative as far as a P&L standpoint, and then he can't pay anybody, he sinks the whole ship rather than just fixing the issue. So it sounds like to me that Forex saw a problem here. The best way to fix it is to do it to give only dogs instead of the dogs BUSD. Some people are slightly shafted by that, but it's not the end of the world. It's just something we have to deal with. You're still getting your funds. You're not losing any money. It's just going to come in a little different way. So I feel bad for the people that were involved in that and have to tweak their mindset here. But again, the collateral is safe. You're going to get it back. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to do that through the dogs and get your score up, which will of course reduce your taxes. The games sound incredibly detailed. There's a lot to them. I've said this on a couple other videos. I'm not surprised there's a delay, honestly. When games are this complicated and there's a lot of innovation and everything that's going on, it's going to take a little while to launch. Immediately when he said what he was doing with those, I said, that sounds like a delay to me. And of course, here we are, and it is a delay. But what I will say is I've been looking at some other projects. I'm in Piston. I've been looking at a couple other ones that I haven't made videos on yet that I'm trying to decide if I like enough. I'm just testing them to actually make videos on. And what I'm noticing is it's kind of interesting because Forex has kind of been saying it, and Forex is a little big-headed when it comes to his own project, but he's been saying he doesn't like any of these other projects because nobody's innovating. And I will say, when I really look at the details of what he's doing and what other people are doing, the lotteries and lending and all that stuff is really simplistic. It's not very complicated. It's very rudimentary, if you will. So the stuff that Forex is doing is much different. It's stuff that's never been done in the DeFi space. So it's going to take 10 times longer to innovate that stuff than it is for you to add some simple lottery system on your platform. So we need to be prepared for that. Every new innovation that he does is a lot more complex than I think of what's been done in the past. And that's why he's always missing timelines, in my opinion. Now, once everything gets launched, he's got 6 total devs, I think, working, probably including himself, working on these new projects. So once we get the full animal farm launched and the devs can kind of collaborate more on some of the new stuff that's upcoming, I would think that this stuff would come out a little bit faster. But who knows? We're about to find out. Forex says that Animal Farm is in its final stages as far as testing, and the Animal Farm launch date will come out as soon as the audits are done. So it's right at that stage where they need to do the audits. Hopefully they'll queue those up sometime later this week. Those will take a week to 10 days to get done. They'll sort out any issues. Then they'll make an announcement on when the Animal Farm is really going to go live. And I know I sound like a broken record. Couple weeks. It's going to get launched whenever it gets launched. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, and frankly, I think Forex may be just trying to shake out more weak hands and time the market a little bit, if you will. I think, based on some charts I've been looking at, specifically on Bitcoin, Bitcoin looks like it's in a bear flag pattern, so there's a really good chance that it takes another leg down. And I think Forex is sort of trying to time the market, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if as soon as that Bitcoin takes the next leg down, of course, BNB and everything will as well, then at that point this thing's going to launch. Crypto will start to work its way back up and we'll be in a much better scenario. So we'll see. That's, of course, just speculation on my part, but I'm excited about it. Scratchy will be done on the 17th, he says, all the prep work and everything for it. After it's done, he wants to do a 30-day marketing campaign. So for me, I'm like, dang, 30 days, that's quite a while. But I get it, because Scratchy is like its own protocol. Even though it's tied into Drip and the Animal Farm, Scratchy's a little bit complicated, and it's going to be huge. I think people are underestimating what Scratchy's going to do over the next 6 months. So I see why that's warranted. And what I'm actually a little bit excited about is just to be a spectator, a fly on the wall, and watch what happens with the marketing, right? His new CMO and the other marketer he brought on in conjunction with each other. What can they really do? Where am I going to see this? Am I going to be on CoinMarketCap, seeing the advertising for that? Am I going to see it on crypto.com? Like, where am I going to see this stuff? So I'm pretty interested to see what the marketing campaign looks like and just observe and see what's in store. I mean, Forex has really talked these guys up, and they're professionals in the marketing world. So there's no reason that myself and all of you guys shouldn't be wowed when it comes to Scratchy. So we're gonna watch that roll out for a month, build a bunch of hype, and then when we go live early September, this thing could really boom. So don't sleep on Scratchies. I'm serious. I think Scratchies are gonna be massive, and I think we'll see some serious price appreciation. The only other thing I really wanted to cover was just a new gamification for Drip. So you've got the faucet, which is real simple. You just earn your 1% per day. They're building a different piece of the platform, or in addition to the protocol, that it will allow us to gamify the whole Drip faucet deal. So whatever that new version is, V2 Drip, that could be pretty cool, and it will definitely, gamifying it will give it an additional utility, let's say. and a lot of people will want to get involved in that. I know that for me, I really like Drip because it's extremely simple. And if they do a Drip 2.0 version, where it's a little bit gamified, I'm going to want to do that. It's the next step. I'm going to have fun with it. So count me in for that. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, there's going to be a new incentive for the reservoir. So getting more people on the reservoir will build the price floor up, better for the drip price, and all that stuff rolled together sounds pretty bullish to me. So that's it. That's my update. Why don't I do some airdrops here? But if I were to summarize, plenty of FUD going on out there. I'm really not concerned about any of this nonsense coming out about Forex. I don't think that he's done anything wrong. And I think people are making it a lot bigger deal than it is because they've got too much time on their hands. With this pause, they can't go into the farms and do their thing and earn yield. So everyone's in the chat just creating problems for each other. So I'm not into it. I'm going to be more positive here. I haven't seen any damning evidence that tells me that anything's wrong here. So I refuse to play those stupid games. Let's do some airdrops. So as you can see, I claimed a little over 12.5 drip. Let's dish them out. I'm going to run the team. And the new members, I dished out a few the other day just so you can see that that's true. Here are my airdrops from the 8th, which is just a few days ago. So I did a handful there. I didn't do one for this big guy. I've already done one for him, or her. I haven't done one for the 336 because I didn't have enough. I wanted to make sure I gave him a pretty sizable airdrop. So let's do, what do I got? Let's do 5.5 for you. Send it. Okay, that's off. Now let's see who else we got. I've already done this individual. I haven't done it for either of these guys. So let's see what we got here. Let's give those guys 2 apiece. Perfect, those are sent. Now we have 3.06 to give away. Let's just run this to one matching player and just make it randomized. So one matching player. Let's reward the people that have been compounding. We'll do 25 plus drip and we'll go 3.06. All right, 22FA, we'll send that to you. As you can see, guys, everybody that joins the team is going to get an airdrop out the gate, and then I'm going to do random stuff to the Telegram chat. I'll do random stuff to this team. Sometimes in my YouTube videos, I say post your comments and your address down below, and I'll airdrop those folks. So I try to spread around the love, but I try to make sure that every new team member does get an airdrop. As you can see, we're 114 people on the direct team and 189. My folks have been growing their teams, which is absolutely outstanding. That's exciting. I really think Drip is just sitting at a bottom here, and we're all going to be really happy in 6 months. So if you've got capital that's you're waiting on the sidelines and you're waiting for an opportunity to get into something, the couple weeks before Animal Farm, I've said this before, and of course we're delayed a little bit, but we're probably 2 to 3 weeks out or so from Animal Farm, somewhere right in that range. So somewhere in that pocket is going to be the ideal time to buy. Every time we get close, I think it's going to dip down into the 5s, which I originally said I didn't think that was going to happen. We boost back up. So of course we were down here getting pretty low, and then we bumped up to 680. So as the price dips, people have enough confidence that they're buying it up and buying those lower prices. And I am too. I've been DCA, and sometimes I'm just buying 3 drips, sometimes it's 5. Once in a while it's just 1. I got a little extra money in there. I actually need to add more, but if I got a little extra money in there, I'll just buy 1 drip and add it to my stack. So I'm just hydrating away. I've said before, I don't plan on selling until this thing probably hits, close to 100 at least, because I think Drip is undervalued at big time at the current prices, and I think Drip would be undervalued at 50. So I'm gonna wait till I feel like the prices are solid, and then I'm gonna do a new strategy. I'll announce the strategy that I'm gonna do here pretty soon, because it may take a few minutes, and I wanted to keep this video relatively short. But I've got an idea to get some pigs, how I'm gonna utilize the garden, which I'm almost at 100,000 plants now, and then use my Drip to couple those together and start working the pig pen. So I've got some ideas there. I'll build a little chart out so you guys can see my strategy and follow it if you want to. But thank you guys for joining. Don't get frustrated. Be patient. These are the worst times. This is max pain. This is very normal in markets. This is when you accumulate. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Happy investing.